We are presenting to you a new hard rock band by the name of Black Swan, featuring vocalist Robin McAuley. This guy also sings for McAuley Schenker Group, and he was a part of Survivor. Who doesn't know Survivor, the band from the 80s? I believe they're still around. Robin sang for these guys. Anyways, Black Swan is comprised of Robin, of course, on vocals. You got guitarist Reb Beach, who plays with Winger and Whitesnake. You got bassist Jeff Pilson, formerly of Dokken and presently with Foreigner, amongst a million other projects. All due respect to Mr. Pilson. And the drummer, you got Matt Starr, who's with Mr. Big and Ace Frehley. So anyways, on this episode, we cover Robin McAuley, vocalist extraordinaire of Black Swan and McAuley Schenker Group. So let's check out their latest video and song by the name of Miracle, off of their brand new album, Generation Mind, off of Frontiers Music SRL. Here is Generation Mind, the song called Miracle. We'll be right back.
Somewhere in the night
Miracle. You guys can stream it. You guys can find it on most digital formats. You guys can get Generation Mind, the brand new album off of Frontiers Music. Look for it on your favorite digital format. And let's go ahead and go to the interview with Mr. Robin McAuley. Enjoy. Black Swan, Generation Mind, dropping April 8th, Frontiers Music. Talk to us about this record if you can.
Black Swan, Generation Mind, record number 2 from Black Swan, following up on Shake the World that we released just pre-pandemic. The record will drop April 8th. We have 2 singles up on YouTube right now. The first one is the title track, Generation Mind, and Eagles Fly dropped on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, last Thursday. Yeah. And the reviews have been absolutely fantastic, and we really appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening, and especially you guys. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Well, thank you for bringing good rock to us fans. Appreciate that.
We're just happy to be making music.
Yeah. I'm glad to see you guys are still, especially yourself. I know you from the '80s. From MSG. I first heard you guys, anytime. About 88, 89. And so thank you for bringing good rock and the old school guys like you. And it's not new rock, like the new rockers, new bands. I'm not really, personal, opinion, I'm not really a big fan of new rock. So,
well, thank you. We're just good music is good music, right?
Yeah.
And that's all we do. That's what we do. And good quality stuff, and people seem to enjoy it, and I guess as long as they do, we'll keep making it, James.
So did you guys record this album in a room together, or was it via email?
Well, initially, no, we recorded it at Jeff Pilson's home studio, Hill Sound. Okay. And the process is because Jeff is so busy with Foreigner. And then Reb, of course, is really busy with Winger and Whitesnake. So Reb usually flies into LA, where Jeff and I live, and he gets together with Jeff, and they start, shredding, getting the music together, and at which point they drop it on my doorstep, and I take it and I'm off to the races with lyrics and melodies. And when I'm about ready to start recording, then I get back over to the studio with Jeff, and we get into sort of a pre-production phase. Yeah. He hears what I have, and we might, change a couple of things up to record it, and Bob's your uncle. And then Matt, unfortunately, this time had to record his drums remotely because he's in Connecticut. Okay. So that was a little bit difficult. He moved back there with family when the pandemic was just a thing for him to do. But we got it done, and it sounds we're really happy. Yeah. We love the first record, and fair to say, I think we believe we took this up a notch.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So you got the ideas from the guys, the riffs and all that. Do you have lyrics lying around, or that you're saving, if you will, or do you just come up with fresh ideas there on the spot?
Always fresh, fresh. And usually, as in the case of for example, in the case of Eagles Fly, something in the riff on the intro that Reb was playing inspired me. I heard something, and I remember when I was listening way back, when I was listening to Jeff Lynne's War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells album, where he had Phil Lynott on there, and Justin Hayward, and David Essex, and I think Richard Burton was the narrator. And I heard something that reminded me of an alien sound that was on that record. and the true story. And I went, oh man, there it is, War of the Worlds. That's what I'm going to write about, and that's really what the song. That's my interpretation of it, really.
Really?
And lights are flashing across the sky, and laser beams killing machines.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. Wow, very cool.
So that's usually what happens. It's something in the chords that he plays. Yeah. Same can be said. It just inspires me. I hear something, and I'm going, and then when I come up with the idea, for in the case of, there's a track on there called "Wicked the Day." Is really the battle between King Arthur and his bastard son Mordred, and so I research it and I read about it, and then Crown is really about Zeus, you know, the demigods.
A strange time in a place so long ago. It was so long ago.
All of that sort of stuff. I researched that, and you know, Killer on the Loose is really about Jack the Ripper, so.
There's a killer on the loose. Catch you in the light, a victim of the night. You know you can't refuse.
I spend hours reading up and picking ideas and reading the story, and then I kind of come up with a set of lyrics centered around that, if that makes any sense.
Wow, that's very cool. Very interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I do. So, and of course, I hit a learning curve at the same time, because I'm learning something when I'm doing it. You know, so it serves a double duty.
Right, you're learning as you go.
I'm learning as I go. Yeah.
So, what's behind the name Black Swan, and whose idea was that?
Oh. Well, of course, that goes back to the first record, and we were sitting around, not really sitting around, but we were like sending ideas backwards and forwards, and they were just terrible names. I mean, they were just
really
awful. And then Red one day got on the blower with us, and he goes, "Dude, so I'm sitting with Kip Winger, right?
Yeah.
And he says, we were just talking about, you know, trying to find a name." He goes, "Dude, it's so difficult to find a name." And he said, Rip said, "Black Swan, there's a good name." And he goes, "That's a really cool name, dude." And so we kept it. And of course, Black Swan also alludes to, it's funny, it's really got nothing to do with the bird.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It's basically a band name, but you know, Black Swan in terms of economy is
right.
is really bad. And of course, at the time of the pandemic, when it kicked in almost immediately after we dropped Shake the World, it was like it couldn't be more poignant, you know.
Right.
and it's funny how some things just fall into place, and that's where it came. And then of course you need to come up with artwork, and then people were going, "Dude, how come the swan is not black?"
Right.
And I'm going, yeah, I kind of asked that question myself. No. But I loved the artwork on Shake the World. It sticks out. It's great. And then of course we come to this one, and I had a bunch of ideas, and Jeff and Reb said, "Dude, why don't you just take the lead on this? Keep us informed what you think we should have." And so I was very much into reading and discovering the plague doctor period in the Black Plague, when they used to wear those plague doctor masks. Yeah. And I went, well, here we are in the 20th century, walking around for the last 2 years wearing damn masks.
Right.
And so I took it to the next level, and I did some research, and I saw what the plague doctors would wear when they would go to see patients suffering from the Black Plague. And then I can do a little bit of graphics myself, so I started taking the mask and put it on a swan figure to see what that would look like. And then I took it a step further, and I was thinking it needs to be a lot more ominous, a bit futuristic, a bit steampunk. And then I started delving into the colors that they used on the alien monster, because it's that sort of blue cold steel look, you know, when he's dripping. And so I spent a lot of time backwards and forwards with the artist, and every time we'd make a change, the band would get to see it. And in the end, that's what we came up with, and I think it's awesome.
Very cool.
I think he's awesome. Same artist from the first record, Stan Decker. He's just, the dude is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, special for sure. Yeah. So how did this all-star group come together? I know it's Frontiers, right? But for the people asking,
Serafino Perugino, who's the CEO of Frontiers, he had come to me about a year before Shake the World was actually recorded, and he wanted a solo record from me, and I really was too busy, and I really wasn't interested in me doing a solo record.
Really?
Yeah, I really wasn't interested in it at all. And then Jeff called me, and he's about a year after that, and when we put it on the back burner, and Jeff said, "Hey, Serafino just called me, and he wants me to put together a super group." And I'm going, dude, that's a horrible name, super group, you know? And he goes, "Yeah, me too." He says, "But I was thinking, since Reb played on Dawkins' Tooth and Nail, I spoke to him already, and he's totally down for it. I haven't talked to any other singer because I want you to do it." And I said, "Wow, that's playing with Red Beach would be killer." And I said, "But if you play bass, I'll be totally down for it." And he goes, "No, I'll be producing. I want to take a back seat. I want to sort of oversee it.
Yeah,
I can do some of the songwriting, but I don't want to be the bass player." And I went, "Well, that's a shame because I want you to be the bass player."
Yeah, yeah, he's good. Yeah.
So we started writing, and then both Reb and I, we said, "Well, there it is, Jeff. You're going to be the bass," because he would play bass to get the tracks done, right?
Yeah.
And then he was going to pass them off to another bass player, and we both agreed, no, dude, if you don't play bass, we're not doing this. So
keep those tracks.
So he relented and did an amazing job, and then we got Matt Starr in to complete the Black Swan quartet.
Right. Yeah, Jeff is a beast on the bass.
He's unbelievable, dude. And a great person, amazing engineer, and a great producer. And a great songwriter. And he sings. Hate the guy. hate the guy.
the whole package deal, yeah. He's
the whole kit and caboodle, as they say, yeah.
So, to speak of you a little bit, when did you first know you could sing? How did you find out you had a voice?
I'm going to tell you and you'll say, "No way, dude." And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a singer. I wanted to be a great drummer. I absolutely sucked.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, but I played drums for years in little small this, that, and the other bands.
Yeah.
And it was a complete fluke in a local pub in the UK that there was a band playing sort of cover top 40 stuff. And I ended up on stage with this band, and I said, "Well, can you do this in this key and do this in this key?" And they're looking at me laughing, going, "Yeah, right, whatever." and that's true. And I started hammering out a couple of songs, and about a month later they went, "You want to be the singer in our band, dude?" and I went, "Absolutely not. No, I don't want to be the singer in your band. I don't sing." That was just a mad thing to do in a pub.
Wow, really?
And,
wow.
Yeah, and lo and behold, I did end up going down and taking a listen, and I spent 2 years doing the pub circuit in the UK, and then a guitar player and a bass player showed up one night and went, "You want to play some real music?" And so I left the pub scene and joined these two guys that later on went on to become Grand Prix.
Okay, yeah.
And I recorded 2 records with Grand Prix, and I suppose at that point I thought, yeah, this is not bad.
Right.
and then Schenker came and saw us, and I ended up with Schenker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
just like that.
I've always never thought of myself as a singer. I always thought of myself as somebody who wanted to be a drummer and ended up as a singer. So
how about before that? Did you ever maybe sing maybe in the shower or in your car?
I used to do backup singing. I mean, when I was playing drums, I would do background vocals, and that was okay because nobody could see me.
You're in the back.
And that was okay by me. I'm not really, I had no aspirations to be the front man.
Wow.
and really, yeah, it's so once I started doing it, I suppose for real, and I started taking it serious, I went, wow, you could lose your voice doing this real easy.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I used to, and then I discovered, okay, if you're going to do this for real, you better do it right. And I started, you know,
taking care of your voice,
taking the lessons and doing it the right way, and all of that.
So that's one of my questions.
And here we are 40 years later.
Wow. Well, congrats on that. You're one of the best vocalists out there for sure. Rock.
Oh, thank you, James. Thank you. You know, I do my best. You know, I have good days and bad days. I try to make every day a good day, and sometimes it just doesn't work out like that.
we're human, so is there a secret in taking care of your voice, or what do you do to keep up with your voice and not mess it up?
You know, I have a big tour coming up with Michael Schenker towards the end of April, right into May, and those are going to be like 2-hour shows. 25 songs. It's a lot of work, night after night after night.
Wow.
So you have to be, you just have to be physically and mentally ready. And then, of course, there's your voice, because technically it's the only acoustic instrument on the stage. Yes, you have a microphone. Yes, we have in-ear monitors and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what comes out of that microphone is what you're putting into it in the real physical sense. Exactly. Those are your vocal cords. That's your air, your sound, and it's very difficult sometimes to be completely up to the task, because you're traveling. You're subjected to many different elements: hot, cold, you know, weather,
stress.
Don't speak when you're not spoken to. Just shut up.
Yeah.
Keep it quiet. And that's what I do. I don't talk. Very, very little. It's, to me, once I'm on the road, it's very boring. It's all about the show.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It's all about the show, and can I do it, and what do I have to do to make sure that when the green light's on, I'm ready to go. And the rest of the band, even though they don't say anything, they're looking at you going, "You got this, dude."
Right.
and there it is. And if the show goes down, it's usually the singer. And tell me who they hate most when that happens?
Yeah.
The singer. The singer.
And you know what? Some people don't know that. You know, the voice is a delicate instrument. You know. Yeah.
It is extremely delicate. They go, "Oh, dude, all you have to do is sing. That's all you got to do. Stand there and sing." Well, yeah, that's all. Yeah, you're right. That's all I have.
You mentioned the tour coming up with Michael Shanker. How is it working with such a legend?
Oh, he's amazing. I mean, he's a perfectionist, no question about it. I think he plays better now than he ever did. He spends a lot of attention to detail. Really? He's the master of his craft, and that comes because of the dedication that he puts into his craft. Make no mistake about it. He's something else. He is very, very particular about how he does it, and how he sounds, and you can learn a lot from him in terms of self-discipline, self-control, and there's lots of stories about Michael, but you just have to get up on stage along with him and understand that there is nobody like him. It's incredible.
That's true. Yeah.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, to the point where, I mean, is he human? Maybe he's not of this world, or
maybe he's not. Maybe he's an alien.
He might be.
But you know what? He's learned the human way, and he knows how to do it. He's and of course he celebrates this year. He celebrates his 50th.
Oh, that's right.
Anniversary. 50 years in music, and and quite a catalog.
Wow.
You know.
Yes.
Quite a catalog. Yeah.
For sure. So let's speak about your solo record from last year, "Standing on the Edge." Talk to us about this record if you can.
when the label finally convinced me that I should do it, then I have to think, what am I going to do? Who wants to listen to Robin McAuley solo? You know,
a lot of people.
Yeah, well, again, I had great insecurities, so I thought, okay, how do I do this? So I reached out to a lot of people that I worked with, and I thought, okay, let's write something from that genre, from that genre, from that genre. So, my old keyboard player from my Grand Prix days, Tommy Denander in Sweden, who just recently co-wrote the Detroit Spaces for Alice Cooper. He also has a brand new record himself out called Radioactive, and I just had a single up on YouTube called Move It that was co-written with Mutt Lange, who produced all the Shania Twain, Def Leppard stuff, etc.
Yes.
So I wrote a song with him. I wrote one with Howard Leese, the guitar player from Heart, who's also in the Las Vegas show that I do, and that sort of stuff. So I could basically have a mix mash of sort of sounds that people might have been familiar with from what I did. Mm-hmm. Tommy wrote a lot of songs with the late and great Jimmy Jamison that sang with Survivor, and of course I sang with Survivor, so yes. I wanted something sort of kind of like that, Mm-hmm. So that's how that record came about, and now I'm about one song away from completing the writing on my follow-up solo record.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I'm hoping to get a lot of the vocals done before I leave for Schenker tour. So it's going to be more rocky than the first one. Now that we got that out of the way, now we're going to concentrate on making it a little harder sounding than the first one, because not so many co-writers this time.
Yeah. So
that it's more streamlined, if that makes sense.
Very cool. Looking forward to that. So I want to touch base real quick on. I remember, as I told you, I remember seeing you guys on MTV and VH1 and all that back in the late '80s. Anytime and all those great songs. How did that change your career, or Michael's career, for that matter? Was there a change there in fame, or was your fan base, did that grow, or?
Well, I don't know how we determine fame. Is fame because you sell a lot of records, you make a lot of money, or do both? Mm-hmm. I didn't do either. I never did either. We recorded some great songs. And I guess because of it and because of the exposure, more people learn about who you are. Yeah. And you create, going forward, I guess, a fan base. At the time in the 80s, we were kind of forced into writing a particular way because everybody wanted their MTV slot, everybody wanted their VH1 slot. Yeah. And it was pretty much a given that if you didn't have your MTV slot or your VH1 or your radio play, that it was very difficult to get on a tour, Yeah. So the label would go, I don't really hear the song yet, So you go back to the drawing board, and you'd be like writing by numbers till there was a song that they liked, and then voila. There you go. You're up on YouTube, or you're up on MTV, and you get the radio play, and then you might get an offer for tour. We toured with Def Leppard, we toured with Whitesnake, we toured with Rush.
Wow.
And that's sort of because when you tour with bands like that who have a vast following, then a portion of that following hopefully becomes yours, and you build your fan base. I mean, Michael had a great fan base from his UFO days,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And of course with his Michael Schenker group days, although I think Macaulay Schenker made more of an indent on the VH1 and the American radio than Michael Schenker group days did. But the UFO material has always been very, very much up there, and very much a cult following, and what a band.
For sure,
What a band, just great stuff, yeah.
Great stuff, for sure. So I understand you took a break from music recently, maybe in the 2000s, to be with your family, as I understand.
Well, that was much earlier. I did. Yeah. You know, it was at a point. My kids I have twin boys. Mm-hmm. They're 23 now. Yeah. And when they were born, you know, I was always working, and I went, I need to be home to see my kids walking, you know. And as it turned out, I missed my son Jamie's first steps. I was on tour in Japan, and I was bummed, you know. And I come from a large family, so family is mucho important to me. You know? I like that solid family base behind me, and that's really important. So after I'd missed my son Jamie's steps, I went, that's it, I'm literally going to pull the plug on this. And I stayed home to be around my family, and I got into computer graphics so that I could do what everybody else did and earn a paycheck and have medical care for my kids and you know, health care for my kids, and I did that for a bunch of years before I actually then joined Survivor. Survivor. And, I was in Survivor for about 5 years, and then one day I had the opportunity to join a classic rock show in Las Vegas, which I was in for the last 7 years, voted #1 best classic rock show in Vegas, and we performed over 1,500 shows. Wow! At 5 nights a week, every night. And we had two days a week off. And I live in LA, so I traveled from LA to Vegas and then back home for my 2 days. Not easy on family. And my wife was just the cornerstone. And since the pandemic, the Vegas show obviously had to close. It's rescheduled to open May, maybe June. And in the interim of me being home finally, my wife, it's been on our bucket list for like 20 years or something. She became a licensed nurse. She's already a very, very, very busy lady because she runs a facility for eating disorder adolescents. And in the meantime, like, she didn't have enough to do, working at 14-hour days. She also studied and became a licensed nurse. So she was one of the first frontline workers in LA to actually vaccinate people. Oh, wow. Yeah, so very cool. All go in this house, James. Very cool. Yeah, very proud of her. Very proud of her. So, are there any reunion plans for or with Grand Prix for people asking? We just started writing for a new album after all of these years. Really? Wow. Very cool. We have been coaxed out of retirement, and I received the first 2 songs, I think Saturday. Wow. Funny you should ask. So there's no particular deadline on it because we all have stuff to do. But yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a new Grand Prix record. Wow, that's great news for the fans. Yeah, great news. So we'll see where that goes. So that's going to be exciting. Very exciting for us fans too. Would you like to send a message to your fans listening to this podcast? Oh, I sure would. And thank you for listening, first of all. That is, I mean, I love it. I love it. Obviously, if you're not acquainted with Black Swan, if you go to Frontiers Music SRL, you'll see everything there is to know about Black Swan. You will see the links to the YouTube videos, the recent one, Eagles Fly, the album title, Generation Mind, also up on YouTube, and a link that will take you to the Frontiers Music store, where it would be so awesome if you bought our CD, a beautiful vinyl on a crystal finish. There is also a limited edition of cassettes, would you believe? Wow. And of course, t-shirts. So you can find everything on there, Frontiers Music SRL, and go to YouTube, give our video a like, give it a share, go to my official Facebook page, Robin McAuley Official, and give it a like, give it a listen, and play it loud. Awesome. We appreciate your time, Robin. Thank you for making time, and great talking to you. James, thank you so much, and I hope we'll talk again. We'll do for sure. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, my friend. So don't forget to subscribe
to our channel. If you guys are enjoying what you hear and see, thank you guys for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, for those of you returning fans and friends, thank you for picking us out from a bunch of other podcasts out there. So there you had it, Mr. Robin McAuley of Black Swan, MSG McAuley Schenker Group, of course, from the legend, Mr. Michael Shanker, of course. So check out Mr. McAuley's bands and projects. You can find him on all socials. McAuley is spelled MCAULEY. Robin McAuley. So awesome. Thank you, Mr. McAuley, for making time and being a part of our show, of our podcast. So anyways, don't forget to keep it metal.